Hello, welcome back to another strongly typed video. Today I want to talk about something that has been on the minds of a lot of people in the blockchain space, and that is the ridiculous high cost of gas on Ethereum. Just like gas prices that go into a car can affect people's ability to use cars, gas prices on Ethereum affect people's ability to make financial transactions. And we've seen through this article that doing a simple swap between one token and another, which you could think of as swapping stocks or something else, costs $60, which is just not it's not good. And if you want to create an open financial system, decentralized financial system, you need to be able to compete with closed financial systems. And if they can do it for close to free, then you need to be able to. So the question is, how can we reduce high gas costs on Ethereum? This is one part history lesson and one part like actual solutions. So let's just start at the beginning with one of the earliest forms, which was the Lightning Network. What Lightning Network is, it's basically like a tab at a bar where you can keep buying drinks over and over again without having to reswipe your credit card. You basically create what's called a state channel where you and another user who want to exchange some kind of token or currency, and you do all those exchanges, and then just once the bill is done, you move that transaction on. That's kind of an oversimplification. Payment channels are a lot more complicated, and their interaction with the blockchain is a bit more complex in terms of what they have to report, but that's the idea. And this is good, but it's still a bit slow. It still requires a lot of data consumption by both users, and so it's certainly there. It's certainly a good idea, but it's not quite the whole picture. One of the next big solutions was Plasma. Plasma is the idea of side chains, or going roughly off the main chain. Here we can see an example where there's some kind of root chain, in this case Ethereum, and then Plasma is like a side chain parallel to it, and you make the transactions in this side chain. This could be anything like you and a couple friends, or some kind of other like DApp, like Uniswap or something that runs some kind of side chain where all the transactions are measured, and then those similar to Lightning Network, once the actual currency exchanges are done, they get recorded on the root chain, and it's good, and it has some very good scalability to the individual transactions. We can see a list of pros and cons. It allows for scalability, but it more centralizes the blockchain. It can be long waiting periods because you have to basically close out the chain. Poor experience for users because they can't move a large number of assets because of the individual chain. New security risks and complications. It's a better scaling solution, but it still presents a lot of problems. A good example of, and just as an aside, a cool company working with Plasma, or I believe it's a new version of Plasma that's like much better Plasma or something, is Matic. Cool company. But while Plasma fixes the and this is a funny little thing. While Plasma fixes the trading of currency, it doesn't do anything for. Well, one, it has a couple of other problems, like with actually like spinning up a complete side chain, but it doesn't. It only solves exchanging coins. It doesn't do anything for the near explosion of actual smart contract work, right? You can't put a smart contract that does some kind of other state transfer work or does some kind of computation into this side chain, because you wouldn't really get any of the benefits, right? Those computations would still have to be reported one way or another. So what is getting really big is this idea of optimistic rollups and ZK rollups, or just rollups. And what rollups are is basically is similar to side chains, but you move the computation off chain. So instead of just saying, oh, okay, well, if you're going to transfer funds back and forth, then we can have a change from that. You can actually put it's almost like a microservices where you move the individual smart contracts into their own chains, and the computation can be performed off chain, while the actual state transfers can just be reported back. The two biggest companies doing this for optimistic rollups is Optimism, which is a really cool company. They're one of the guys who had like most of the original papers related to like figuring out like optimistic rollups. And then Starkware, in terms of ZK rollups, Starkware, again, lots of guys who have been in zero knowledge space for quite some time. Some of the best researchers in the world working in Starkware. And it's pretty cool. The actual difference is it's just kind of an implementation. It's important and it's interesting, but for this it's not too important because this video is getting a little bit long. You can think of it as almost as swiping your credit card versus the chip. Yes, there's differences. Yes, the security and implications and blah blah blah. But for you, it's just you're transferring money from one person to another, and if you can do that for less, that's better. There's no security trade-offs. So pretty cool. Optimistic rollups are seen kind of as a more short-term solution since it's easier to port smart contracts into, and ZK rollups not so much, but I think have better scalability properties, is able to get more state transfer computation into individual rollups that can then be reported back. But it's a pretty interesting space. It's a pretty interesting problem. Hopefully we see more and more. I don't know why that frog is there, but I found it funny. Hopefully we see more and more dApps being used, which means more transactions, which means we need more scalability. All right, bye.